Out of Date says there'll be consequences of the war, but there are more pressing matters at hand. The last World Eater has been left undisturbed with the tree while you focused on the war. He thought someone with your light perspective and key would have had different priorities and faced the World Eaters before resolving the tribe war. Regardless, Out of Date is grateful the tribe war is over. Out of Date understands the road has been rough, but you already know what's left to end this journey, and it'll be tough. You're the only one that's strong enough to face the last World Eater. The future depends on someone with a light perspective to give the world a chance to survive. Only time will tell what the future holds, and if it will bring a lasting peace for those that make it to the end. Out of Date says the word about what you've done so far is spreading. The tribes haven't lost hope yet. He appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's had urgent news from his friend Wiz in the Northwest. He's unsure about your intentions, but hopes you'll support Wiz. He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Wiz and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That doesn't sound good. Out of Date's hunch is real. The Murk puff is up next. Out of Date says that Wiz is worried now that the Northwest WorldEater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Wiz is working on an undersurf vessel in order to get to the WorldEater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head northwest as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He's happy to help. Says you should take care. The Surge Surf Factory. Keep your eye out for Wiz while you're here. Toxanol's mining led to mass deforestation and increased global warming, as nature couldn't absorb the carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions without the trees. These irreversible changes to the climate also contributed to the evolution and modified our genetic code. Wuz isn't easy on the tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Wiz. You might remember him from the old days when he let you try his octopod? Wiz remembers you were such a cheery kid, and he's glad to see that light hasn't faded from you, despite the years. But Wiz understands it was a long time ago, and memories get murkier the deeper you go. but says it helps to have friends with you to plumb those depths. They've been here for you since you were a kidling, but when you left, you also chose to distance yourself from everyone that cared for you. Wiz says our memory keeps things for us, preserves them until we are ready to face them again. He knows you've returned to face Lupa Lupin, and that confrontation is as inevitable as the tides. He's not surprised that the loss of your family could plunge you into the depths forever, but you've always been able to rise like a bubble to the surface, no matter what. He knows that though the tides of history may push you in one direction, you can always lay your own course. Ultimately, it's your choice. You were the one to be wronged and have lived with the consequences. He believes in consequence as it's a direct result of action. Asks if you ever think about freedom and whether any of us really has it. Did you make the decisions that brought you here, or are you just a pawn of fate? Glad to hear that. He only wishes he was that sure about himself. Amazed the world is going to continue on, but happy to hear it. Still so many things to invent. Impressed that you fought so hard to keep the world spinning. Thinks you were smart to join with the Myriad. They have a rainbow of ways to approach any problem. Says they're unified in the ways that matter. But that's not nearly as important as this. Wiz says that you should let the past dwell in the depths, but there's something else down there too, gnawing at the Tree of Life. He's named it the Murk Puff. This is why he's tinker-tonkering with the octopod. But the lid got stuck, so he needs a big enough tug twister to open it up and let you a-go-in. He can't leave the surge station, so you must help him find a tug twister. There's a wound-up mecha Fingro in the mecha stadium that still has one stuck on its back. Find it, and you'll find the tug twister. It's definitely made to lend a helping hand and do the heavy lifting. Toxanol records mention it as an automaton made for moving bionucleus matter into storage areas. Don't want to point a finger, but the mecha stadium is near here. The world is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Lockety-locked. Bolted shut. Keep hold of that. Just a few moves left. Make them count. You need to loosen the bolts without unsettling it. That's it. The tug twister's loose. Let's hope it turned the grabbing hand into a helping hand, too. There they are. Now, catch them. This story is about a He believed the tug twister would do the trick, but now realizes brute force won't do the trick. You need something slick. Well, he means slick as in greasy, so you can lube the hinges of the lid. He can't argue against the fact your fur's shiny. He says the lid should open if you sprinkle grease it. Problem is, he's all out. He knows his old friend Choo Choo always keeps his grease sprinklers well filled. He should have an extra that you can borrow. He stresses that you should come back as soon as you've retrieved the grease sprinkler. The Murk puff is crunching bark by the minute. It's big enough to make waves beneath the surface, and that's a challenge in itself. But it also has a hard shell, so you need to target its head. You've reached the end of the line. Bet you can find Choo Choo here. Choo Choo knew you would make it to him one day. All you had to do was follow the steel path. The rails might be getting rusty, but eventually they all converge on him. Claims rails are like rules. If you follow them the way you're supposed to, everything good in life can roll your way. Says you followed the rails to where you need to be, but tracks have switches in them too. The question is then, will you keep on the same track or look for a way to hit that switch? You seem like you're on the right track already. He just hopes you don't get sidetracked onto a darker path. Whichever way you go, he wants you to know that the rails never steer you wrong. Stick to them and they always bring you right to where you're meant to be. Wants to know if you've ever regretted taking one track in life instead of another. If you could go back, would you switch tracks or keep chugging along the one you're on? Likes your sureness, the way you keep at it like a chug-chug with no way to reverse. Seems like the world came out of its rut and is chugging toward higher ground again. Can't thank you enough for hitting the brakes and working to turn the world chug around. But let's not get derailed. Says he's surprised to see anyone this far out, but sometimes the wrong train does take you to the right station. As you can see, he didn't plan to make a stop here, but now that he had to, he's really happy to see you. He says his name is Choo Choo. He's been off track since the world started dying, but he's trained his mind to stay positive regardless of the situation. Says sometimes life runs off the rails, but it's always better when they're good and greased. He's convinced the tracks are like the paths our lives take, and you must deal with the outcome, even if you didn't lay them yourself. This time, though, he was sidetracked and needs a new wing nut to get back on track. Wing nuts are easy to find, as they're fitted on any in-front chugga-chugga out there. The challenge is taking them off, so he's happy you're here to do it for him. Says he knew you would, like he knows the way the rails run. The Wing Nut Chug Tunnel. It goes on forever. Someone will pay dearly for that. Well placed. The plague that's ruining the land needs to be stopped. There they are. Now, catch them. You fixed those flame flies fast. Choo-Choo says he knew you'd come through. If someone makes a stop at your station, it's for a good reason, but he understands no one gets their tracks greased for free. He'd be happy to part with his spare grease sprinkler, as he believes it's a great fit for any of your business that needs to be unstuck. He keeps it safe in a box on the handcart, in case of emergency. Yes, for something catastrophic, like something squeaky in need of greasing or an ointment to ease the pain in these dark times in general. Choo-Choo says you should help yourself to the grease sprinkler. It's a versatile tool from the bygone, a last of its kind, so don't let it go to waste. He's convinced you'll put it to good use, as there are lots of stuckies out there that need greasing to open. Seems glad you think so. You're on the right rail. Choo-Choo says he can't wait to get out of this place. Says talking to you was interesting. You shouldn't worry about smashing up the box. Choo-Choo has no use for it now. Choo-Choo says he feels strongly about helping his next, just like you did for him. He's convinced there was a bigger reason you met. Sometimes the wrong train will take you to the right place. He believes you've got what it takes to make a difference. He's witnessed it himself. Figures everyone chooses their own path. The longer you ride the rails, though, the easier it is to travel with friends. Choo-Choo's thrilled you found the Ark. Just imagine how much faster than a chug that thing must be. And no rails needed. Needs no rails, no roads, nothing but air. The world's on the mend, so no need to leave it. But just think of all the places the Ark could take you. Says he's happy to see the Ark in your hands. Knows you'll go great places with it and do some good. Wonders who you might call aboard the Ark with you.
So, what we have here is an opportunity to help your next. There's a seat open on the Ark should you want to offer it as a gesture of appreciation.
Why? You don't need anyone else but yourself and me, of course, but I'm a part of you, so that doesn't count.
If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. The only one we'd want to get away quickly from here is darkness.
But you know you can't go on without me. Even if I'm bad company, I complete you.
I think we can finally agree on something. It is better to be alone than in bad company. But best of all is being good company yourself.
After spending a life on the rails, he's eager to ride the skies with you. Just let him pack his rollerboard and he'll roll aboard. Choo-Choo says he's ready to pack up and leave. Seems surprised you have to go.
Nakatika, batu keponan.
Wiz says that there's no plan to confront the Murk Puff until the octopod is properly armed.
Avan tulusin.
He knows you'll need something that packs enough boom to put a dent in that shell, or better yet, head. Pyro sticks will do the trick.
Invitara choshin.
He says his old friend Boom makes all things that go bang.
Kepi.
There's a rumor that some of Boom's pyro sticks shot off and are out there roaming free.
Nilam estamat karada pikikof. Invitara choshin.
You should keep an eye on the horizon for pyros. If you're fast, you have a shot at catching some of them before they go off.
Dinan velaj. Mai?
Boom has named the place Puff Duff Bluff. It sounds silly, but it's an accurate description considering most of the pyros are duds, seeing as they're as old as the old world. That's a bang plant, where Toxanol used to make all sorts of splody things before it blew up in their faces. Ouch! That looks like an unbanged pyro stick on the loose. Better catch it before it goes off. Looks like some solid wood scrap there. The pyro sticks will cause a bang, but targeting is on you. At least now you have a chance to hurt the Murk Puff where it counts. You should aim for the head. That's the Murk Puff's weak spot. Thinking doesn't seem to be his strong point.
Pikekov. En jij vivat sneva, darium avar ilato vieto.
Wiz has been working on another cannon, but instead of pyrosticks, it squirts guppos, scaly distractions for anyone with an appetite disorder, and irresistible for the Murk buff in particular.
Darium avar ilato vieto, gandan ishnavov.
Seems the best way to find guppos is go talk to Gil. He has a natural sonar and knows where the guppos sub the surf. This means you'll have to go visit Gil at Burblebottom. Find Gil and he'll be able to tell you where to find the guppos. Guppos are lively beings and they're fast too. They're here, there and everywhere. Or at least they used to be. Are you scared yet? It's getting dark. This is Burblebottom, residence of Gil. Happy to finally get to meet you. He's seen a lot of things wash up on his miniature shore, but nothing as exciting as you. Claims to have been born swimming, but he must flap-flop clear of it during these dark days. It must have been upstream only to get to this point in your histo future. But which way are you going now? With the flow or against? It's crazy hard to flipper against the surf, but you can't save the world if you let it sweep you away. Either way, it's a shame the surf has gotten so nasty. Thinks life is like trying to ride a wave. You need to pick the right one, but you don't really know which one that is until you're on top of it. Better to ride a wave than let the perfect one pass you by. Seems to him that there's always another wave coming along. Can't imagine how wonderful it's going to be to surf on gooless goo. The world is going to live. Can't thank you enough for fighting against the goo. Happy you ride alongside the myriad. They bring a real shine to everything they work with. Says they shine so bright. They glitter on the waves. But none of that's nearly as important as enjoying the day, right? He never drank from this pond because of the disgusting things done there. Even the fish stopped drinking here after the pollution made the surf mucked and the air blocked his gills. He figures the Tree of Life isn't drinking either. Or, well, that's not true. He said it does drink, as it has no other choice. It's a tree, but it's forced to drink poison. Claims the surf is poison now. Anything that drinks it becomes poison too, including the Tree of Life. His friend Wiz needs guppos for one reason or another, and Gil is ready to point you in the right direction. But here, you're only going to find dead ones. He's pretty sure Wiz wants them alive. Well, at least the ones that aren't already rotting. If you head in the right direction, you'll find a clean enough bit of surf to snag yourself some guppos. Then you can get them to Wiz for whatever he has in mind.
finde.
Figures he's always been a friend to Wiz, and now he can be one to you, too. This is Guppy Grotto. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Hold on to that. Need a key. Good scrap makes top weapons. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Peace in a place like this won't last. It never does. That seems to be enough guppos to provide the octopod with infinite ammunition. He's surprised the Murk Puff's been able to hold its breath all this time. It's just another proof of the evolutionary change caused by Toxanol's contamination. Being undersurf has meant the Murk Puff has been left alone to munch on the root down there undisturbed. This means the northwest route has suffered more damage than the others. He's sure there's enough time to confront the Murk Puff, but he worries if the world has enough years left to last his lifetime, even if you stop the World Eaters. That was the last of them. You've sealed the fate of the tribe and the tree. It's time for the end game. You have your destiny. Follow it all the way back to Out of Date. He never told anyone about what's next, but he's sure it involves you. Just continue to stay true to yourself and respect others whatever happens. You've become their pride, the guiding light of the tribe. It's time to return to the tree one last time.